My oaths betray each other till there's nothing left to keep.
Only Us by Miracle of Sound. Alright, and welcome back!
Welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast.
I am your host, Midnight, and I'm here with Mythic
Hi.
and Darkness.
Hello.
And this
Also,
Oh.
whoever that is that's saying that we don't know how to say names, I swear to God to you, I will find you. I will find you. All right? You try saying these names.
Kandra. Yeah, Kandra has been in our Discord saying how much he loves how much you guys fuck up the names. I don't think he's gonna get to this episode for quite a while though, because he was still listening to Mistborn stuff, I believe.
That's fine. He'll know who he is.
In like a year's time when he gets here. Actually, probably not that
Yep.
long.
It'll be a year. That's okay.
But yeah, so this is episode 1 of Words of Radiance. We are on our second Stormlight book. Very excited. We read chapters 1 through 4 this week. Just to get a little starter, this is obviously the first part of part 1, which is called A Light, and we get Shallan, Kaladin, and Dalinar chapters. Also, I don't know if you guys noticed, last book was all the flashbacks, right? Were Kaladin flashbacks. So every single book, you get a different character's flashbacks. And so this book is Shallan's flashbacks. So
Interesting.
which Shallan's flashbacks are my favorite flashbacks of all the 4 books that I read so far.
Because we got a lot more Kaladin shit in the last one too, so does that mean that we're going to get a lot more Shallan shit in this one?
Yeah, so I think technically each book has...
You already don't want to be here, I already know it.
No, well, it got better because they actually revealed more stuff because of her.
Yeah, so you're going to get a lot more Shallan reveals of like her past and all like the stuff that she's like trying not to remember, which I love.
Like the fact that she killed her own father, yeah.
Yeah, she revealed that. But yeah, so
she didn't reveal that in this book, but she revealed it.
Just so you know, though, just because it's a character's POV book does not always mean that they're the main character. Although it kind of felt that way with Kaladin in the first book.
Wait, what?
She's my main character. That's all that matters.
I just went through this. You're telling me that she's not gonna have a lot of?
So she is gonna have a lot because she's still one of the main 3 characters. But we get a Kaladin POV book, a Shallan POV book, and a Dalinar POV book. But in the future, because those are our 3 main characters. But in the future, there are other POVs we get, but it does not technically mean that they're the main character.
There's a protagonist in this.
Yeah, so because there's going to be 10 books, you're going to get 10, we'll have a full 10 POV characters eventually.
Yeah, I got a wild theory after all of these are over, too.
Oh, okay, we'll get into that eventually.
I mean, wild theory.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. I love when you guys have wild theories. But yeah, so let's start with our epigraphs, which are from the personal journal of Navani Colin. So this first one is, to be perfectly frank, what has happened these last 2 months is upon my head. The death, destruction, loss, and pain are my burden. I should have seen it coming, and I should have stopped it. So what do you think that Navani should have stopped?
Some kind of a murder, I'm assuming.
Her marriage. Her future marriage. Her non-existent future
Who's
marriage.
Navani?
Navani is Yasmin's mom, the one who's dating Dalinar.
Oh, yeah, she murdered her own husband. That's
Imagine. Wait.
So this journal though, this journal entry is written from either present or I think slightly future to where we are in this book.
Yeah,
so
she murdered her own husband.
I think it's right before that like time period that was written on the wall.
I think this is written just after these chapters we read. Like I think this might be written like
Really?
These journal entries might be written I think at the end of this 60-day countdown.
Wait, what were we talking about then?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, what do you think that she thinks she should have stopped? So something happens that she says she should have stopped.
Dalinar becomes evil.
Shit.
That's my wild theory, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Yep. That the person that he's listening to right now, like the big voice, is actually Odium.
Oh, you think it's Odium pretending to be the Almighty?
I don't think there's a difference.
Well, I mean, Yasna, I mean, we'll get to it, does say that there's...
Yes, but she also states a couple other things in that was like real fishy, like the way that they wait, is the Almighty's the same person they call the Stormfather, right?
No. So
Okay,
the Stormfather
is
is like
talking about that.
Okay, so the Stormfather is like a weird kind of offshoot, she says, from the Almighty. Because she says she
Yeah,
thinks
okay.
both the Almighty and the Stormfather may be powerful spren like the Night Watcher.
Yes, but I mean,
Which is what I thought, right? At some
Mhm.
point.
So she's like, I think they may be powerful beings, but I don't think they're actually gods. I
uh,
think they don't need to be worshipped. They're just very powerful creatures.
I mean, but I don't know. We'll get to it because
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah, and then I can go back to what I remember.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So we start a few days after the end of the last book, with Shallan on a boat, with Yasna headed towards the Shattered Plains. Shallan was drawing a picture of Shadesmar, wishing she could ask Yasna more about the place, but not sure how to approach her after her betrayal. Shallan then glances down at her drawing and sees a pattern covering the page that she hadn't drawn. She
How
goes to
long
brush.
has it been since this, by the way?
It's literally been like
how
a day
long
or
is it?
two since the last
Okay.
book.
Okay, I was like,
Yeah, because I think
like-
Shallan says that they've been on the seas for like a day or two, and they left like that day that she met Yasna, and also Kaladin mentions in his first chapter that it's really the day after he met with Dalinar and got the cloak. So this is like literally like immediately after the last book.
you
There's
mean-
no
you-
time skip.
You mean the cloak that they all dismantle and take the thing off of?
No, that's the uniforms. The cloak is separate. He leaves it at the barracks.
We're cutting this off. Nope.
the poor fucking tailor is like, "What are you doing?" He's like horrified.
Oh, fucking funny.
Oh my gosh, it was great. But yeah, so she sees a pattern covering the page. She goes to brush her hand against it, and the pattern moves, causing Shallan to yelp and jump as she drops her papers. The Thaylen sailors quickly begin gathering them to stop them from blowing away, as Shallan calms herself and apologizes to Yalb and Toesbeck. So I love that Yalb's back. I love Yalb. He's the
Yeah,
one
I
who
like
was
that
like
the pirates
helping
are
her
back
out.
too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the pirates are back too. It's fucking great.
Yeah, Yalb was the one who was like helping her out with like all the book buying and like gambling with people in the first book.
Not gonna lie, I keep hearing Yelp reviews.
Hey.
Reviews.
More names that we
Oh
can't seem to
gosh.
say.
Poor Yalb. So as Shallan settles back down, one of the sailors notices something in the water. Shallan stands and sees a brown-green shell about the size of 3 rowboats coming up to swim next to the ship. She realizes it's a Xanthid. Yalb comes over and calls Shallan good luck as she says that some people thought Xanthidin were extinct because of how rarely they were spotted. Shallan then asks Yalb to get a rope and tie a loop at one end as she wants to be lowered into the water to get a look at the Xanthid, since no one has ever been able to draw a live Xanthid before. Yalb thinks Shallan is crazy for this and says he'd get in trouble with the captain if he helps her with this. So what do you think about Shallan wanting to like literally be lowered down into the ocean to see this creature?
That's
Want her to
valid.
do exactly what she does later and just demand it. I was like, just tell them you're doing it. Don't like what?
That's basically what Yaza tells her. She's like, you basically just
Yeah.
need to act like you're in charge.
Yeah, she is in charge. Honestly,
You just need
It's
to
my
exude
ship. The man
confidence.
says
And
it's
people will do
my.
what you say.
First off, this man says it's my ship, and I'm like, so?
But Yalb finally agrees, but tells her that in order to get her some goggles made of turtle shell and glass, he needs the captain's permission, which Shallan reluctantly agrees to let him go do so that she'll be able to see easily under the water. Yalb says with a grin that Shallan has changed since he last saw her before running off to the captain. Shallan thinks about this and agrees with Yalb, thinking that all of her failure with stealing the Soulcaster from Yasna, but still making it through, had changed her. A voice in her head then says that she had grown up with horrors, but she just wouldn't let herself remember them. So first of all, do you think of this voice that continues to speak in Shallan's head?
Wait, there's a voice speaking to her.
Yeah, the one that says you've grown up with horrors, but what?
Ruin's back.
So this had happened. They speak with like italics. This had happened a little bit in the last book too. Whenever this is like the symbol head creatures. Whenever there was like,
This friend.
you must tell a
The one
truth.
that tell a truth. That one. Oh,
Yeah,
I
that's the
didn't
same
really
voice.
Realize it. I thought she was just talking to herself.
There's-
No, that was
In this part.
yeah, the
I thought she was
Spren.
talking to herself.
They
was
went
really
over
from
that there's
Cryptid.
Spren, right? They went over the fact that there's Spren.
Yeah, they do in the second
Yeah, the
Shallan chapter
cryptids.
here.
Yeah, they're cryptids. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that the cryptid is saying that she grew up with horror. So obviously this creature knows
actually-
about her past.
They're lice Spren.
Yeah, they are lice Spren. You guys, I found it so funny when you're like, oh, they're obviously true Spren, and I'm like, they're the exact opposite.
But I don't. Wait, but why ask for a truth then?
They want
You're a
truth.
liar.
Well, that's probably what they need.
Yeah, so it's because I believe how it works is the reason they like truce is because like they are kind of like, because Shallan lies about a lot of stuff. She's hiding so many things, and they I think they're attracted to that partially, and so they want the truth from her because they're like, all these lies, but tell me the truth.
But so why wouldn't I don't understand because they have like literal like different what was the other honor Spren or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, yes, it has it been confirmed that she's an honor Spren?
Still,
think
yes,
it
it
has.
was confirmed. Still confirmed she was an honor spren at the end of the last book.
And yet she's talking about how everybody needs to be honorable and blah blah blah. So why wouldn't they be called truth spren?
Because she
I feel like
wants honor. She
they're-
doesn't just want truth. She wants people to be honorable.
I feel like they're more of like a light and darkness sort of situation
Hmm.
where you kind of need the other, you know?
Yeah, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Yasna kind of talks about how they don't really like each other, the honor spren and the cryptics. They're not friends, which I know. Like when I first started reading this, I'm always like, how would Kaladin and Shallan get along, considering they have like the opposite spren?
I don't know. It's weird because they want truth. She wants honor. She wants him to be honorable. They want her to be truthful. I don't understand why they wouldn't be called truth spren.
Nope, they're lie spren.
I feel like somebody's. I'm pretty sure even when I read or I listened to this, I said it, but I'm like, I think you're lying. I don't think you know what type of spren they are.
They apparently don't like to be called lie spren either, so they don't really fully
Yeah,
relate
call
to
them
that.
truth spren. They're truth spren.
They like to be called cryptics.
Yeah, they're truth spren. Well,
Yeah,
there
but,
were so many spren named in this that I was confused as fuck about, like gravity spren.
Gravitation
Like,
spren, yeah.
Whatever. I was like, what?
You know, I was gonna talk about them in the last book. I was like, you
Gravitation
wonder
spren.
if there's any of these, and I'm like,
The Isaac Newton
know.
of this world was like, yes, the laws of the universe,
Right.
how gravitation spren will draw things down to the ground.
Yeah, like,
now.
You can see all these gravitation spren forming on top of this apple, and then it falls.
it's such a
Okay, but
weird
wouldn't
concept.
gravitation spren be everywhere though?
Yeah, gravity's always on us.
Yep.
I feel like the world would just be full of gravitation spren.
They're hiding.
Obviously not well enough.
But yeah, my question though here had been, we got on a tangent with all the spread and everything, but what sort of horrors do you think Shallan grew up with? Because she's like, because
A lot.
the cryptic is like,
She murdered her own dad.
yeah, but I mean she grew up with a bunch
Oh!
too. Like she didn't just
I thought you said whores.
How many
horrors.
horrors?
Horrors.
What sort of horse she grew up with?
She didn't grow up with
I mean, her
horrors. She
mother-
grew up with horrors.
Her mother, you know. So
I mean, her mother's dead. And her stepmother is like
exactly, she was a whore.
gone or dead. I don't remember. I
Oh God.
think her stepmother left.
2 whores. Wow. That's why she murdered her dad. You lay with
Interesting.
whores. I must murder you. Go
Yeah.
on.
Do you think there's anything
I'm
else that happened in
taking
her childhood besides her apparently killing her dad at some point recently?
Oh, for sure. Like, I don't know. That's crazy. What happened to her mom?
Her mom's dead, apparently. Mom died a long time ago.
I see that. Did she get
Exactly.
killed by her too? Did she kill her too?
Maybe.
No,
Who knows?
murdering her whole fucking family.
I mean, I'm waiting for her to murder her own brothers now.
That's why the stepmom
she
left.
kinda-
She found out that
kinda already
Shallan
did.
killed the mom, and she's like, I gotta go now before I get murdered. So the captain and his wife then come over to Shallan, and the captain says that he can't allow Shallan to go down to see the Santhid, as even if the Santhid is harmless, there are other creatures in the water that are not. Shallan reluctantly backs down, and then notices Yasna coming up from the cabins below. She thinks that the sailors considered Yasna's outfits prudish because they cover from neck to foot, but the way they hug her body is nothing less than flattering. Yasna mentions that they have rooms below to study, but Shallan replies that she enjoys being outside and admits she had trouble studying, so she'd been sketching. Yasna then asks for a seat similar to Shallan's to be brought over for her. Yasna then notices a picture of Shadesmar that Shallan had drawn, but Shallan assures her that she hadn't gone back there as Yasna had warned her not to. Yasna then states that she is willing to talk to Shallan about Shadesmar, as she finds that keeping secrets tend to just cause people to try harder to find out about them. She then tells Shallan that
She's a liar.
She then tells Shallan that Shadesmar is all around them, as it is the cognitive world and they are in the physical world. Shallan doesn't truly understand, but Yasna says that Shallan shouldn't, as it took Yasna 6 years of research to learn this much about it, although she feels she isn't using the best terminology for describing Shadesmar. So what do you think about Yasna forbidding Shallan to visit Shadesmar again?
Probably
feel like-
for her best interest.
Yeah, it's very valid considering, you know, what we know about it from other places. So.
Yeah. Also,
Mhm.
living beings shouldn't be there.
And if Spran inhabit that, you know, kind of scary considering that they have their whole society thing.
Yeah, apparently they have like a whole society out there. So Yasna states that the cognitive realm was created by them in some way, and that their minds just barely skim the surface when they think. She then asks Shallan what Spren are, to which Shallan replies that they are living ideas. Yasna then states that she believes Spren are from the cognitive realm, and that they somehow leak into the physical realm and are fragments of concepts that have gained sentience. Yasna then mentions that some Spren are like animals, and some are like people, and they have created cities within the cognitive realm. Shallan asks if this has to do with the Voidbringers, but Yasna says that she has not been told much by the Spren, for some of them do not know much and others refuse to speak to her because of an oath humans broke in the past, and she thinks that some Spren may have died because of that broken oath. So what do you think about the fact that Spren have created cities in Shadesmar?
It's pretty cool, and it's kind of confusing. Well, maybe not. It reminds me of the was it the Aeons? I don't fucking know. The
Aeons.
fucking
Seance.
Elantris, yeah.
yeah, the little balls of light or
Yeah, the
whatever.
seance.
Yeah, and how some here seem to be described as like nothing more but like acts of like nature or whatever. Like the fire span and how they haven't seemed to communicate with people and stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, Yasna basically says that there are Spren that like kind of just like are like animals and stuff like that. Like they don't really have as much like sentience as others. And then there's
Mhm.
obviously some like the cryptics and the honor Spren and stuff that are much more sentient.
Which what is it? I don't remember if they discussed it, but would it be just because of the fact that they're like ideal or emotion based rather than like actual
It
nature
doesn't
ones?
say. She
Well, I'm
hasn't
assuming
said.
it's because of that, but
Yeah, the only two. I mean, we would technically know three. We just don't know what type of Spren Yasna has. But basically, the three
Spren.
types of Spren that we've seen that interacting with people are.
it's Ivory Spren.
Oh,
Her
God.
name's or his name is Ivory. Sorry, I keep wanting to call
I
Ivory a
know.
girl. But yeah, so we know of three types of Spren that are sentient. But we don't know if like there's a reason that certain ones are sentient over others.
You're gonna give him anxiety for misgendering him. I swear to God.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to misgender Ivory. I'm very sorry to Ivory.
If you're watching the podcast,
Yeah, Midnight is a bigot. We all already know that.
Gosh, I'm doing my best.
She purposely misgendered them.
Oh my gosh. But also, what do you think about this oath that humans broke to Spren in the past?
I mean, we already know that humans are oath breakers. We already knew that.
Hmm.
They lie to each other all the time.
Also, I was thinking, what if they murdered Bren?
I mean, Yasna says that some Spren may have died because this broke.
No,
them,
but I mean,
so-
like, what if they straight up that was?
Yeah,
the
that's
whole
what I'm
thing?
saying. Like that could be a
Purposefully murdered them.
possibility.
Like, what if they purposefully murdered them?
That would be
That's
pretty
what I'm
fucked
saying.
up.
Like,
Yeah, that was my
What if-
idea. I don't know what he's talking about. I said it.
okay, I was thinking it'd be pretty cool if it ended up with the Spren being the Voidbringers.
Mm.
Yeah, I had this really cool theory.
So Shalon then
Came out of nowhere. I don't know where it came
Uh-huh.
from.
Yeah. So Shalon then glances at the water and thinks she sees the pattern that had been on her sketches earlier in the water. She mentions this to Yasna, but can't point it out as the ship had sailed past it already. Shalon then thinks about her brothers, worrying for them as she'd had to lie and say that she had been forced to help Yasna after being caught with the stolen soulcaster. Her brother Balat, however, had seemed positive that at least she was escaping their father's debts, even if the rest of them would not. Yasna then states that she had taken some action to help Shalon's family, sending a small monetary gift, but stating that wealth alone would not help them, as they had to deal with the Ghost Bloods, and they also had no allies. Yasna then shows Shalon a conversation she had with her mother this morning. The conversation is about Shalon's broken soulcaster, and Navani mentioning what may be wrong with it. Yasna states that her mother is an Artifabrian and may be able to fix the soulcaster so they can return it to her brothers, who can return it to the Ghost Bloods. Yasna then nervously mentions the second part of the conversation with Navani, where she suggested Shalon get betrothed to her cousin Adolin. Shalon is excited by this.
Down with it.
Shalon is
I got
excited.
so upset there.
Yeah, same. I was like, wait, what?
Shalon's excited by this as she thinks that no one will mess with her family if she is betrothed to someone so powerful, and Yasna relaxes. Yasna says she will tell Navani that Shalon is open to this, but mentions that Dalinar wants Shalon and Adolin to meet before agreeing to anything. So yeah, what do you think about
Wants Adolin
Yasna's
to bed her.
suggestions?
She just wants Adolin to bed her
Oh god.
naturally. Just be
Mhm.
like, she's a beautiful woman. Adolin would have he'll have no other choice but to choose her.
Yeah, what did you think though about Yasna's suggestions for both fixing the soulcaster as well as like getting Shalon's family allies by marrying her into Dalinar's family?
I'm just curious of what her end goal is, to be honest. I feel like she's got to have an end goal.
Hmm.
She's not doing things just to be nice.
What do you think, Darkness, about Yasna's plans?
I feel like she understands what she needs to do because of like all the research she's done.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like instead of like, trying to like punish her for everything she's done and all this shit, like even if she does want to do that, she would know that helping her would be the best outcome. Because she knows she has the theory that like something bad's coming, right? So,
She does. She thinks things are happening as well. She's concerned about the Parshmen being Voidbringers and like that they could like change at any
Ah,
time.
fuck. I just remembered what happened with the tattoos. As soon as you said parchment, I was like
I didn't
Yeah,
like
also,
what
what do you-
happened. Out here. But...
Yeah, what do you
Or
think about
Paladin.
this potential match between Adolin and Shallan?
Adolin's gonna reject
No,
because
I doubt that. Adolin doesn't
no,
seem to
because he's
reject
gonna fall in
any.
love with Kaladin,
Oh my
and
god.
then yeah.
Maybe Shallan's like, oh, I like, wouldn't I match better with the younger brother? Like, I don't have anything like good about my family. She's like, no, it's fine. Plus, Adolin's pissed off every single fucking woman he's ever met. So like,
Yeah,
he's got
but
no other
she,
options.
she also made the very good comment of like, you do have something to offer.
Yeah, you're becoming a Knight Radiant basically. Like you're a Surge Binder. Like you.
Yeah, you're very powerful. You alone are what is needed.
Yeah.
Not
your
only
family
that, but
doesn't matter.
she's a professional like smack talker, so
Oh god. I mean, I feel like she's gonna give Adolin a run for his money, but
she's gonna fight back.
yeah, sure as fuck. I don't think she's gonna be one of those meek little girls that Adolin.
Shallan's gonna wear the pants in this relationship.
Yeah, for sure.
We know he needs it.
Somebody needs to wear the pants in his relationship. For sure.
He's not very good at keeping women, so yeah, maybe he needs someone like Shallan.
So you're gonna say keeping pants on,
Oh my god.
I mean, that
which
too.
also, you know.
That too, you know. Yeah, he needs a good schlong in his life.
Oh my god.
Mhm.
So Shallan then mentions
I'll be that schlong.
Shallan mentions that she has nothing to
Yeah.
offer Adolin as he is far above her in rank, although Yasna replies that Adolin has offended pretty much every girl near his rank. She also mentions that if Shallan is what she thinks she is, then she has much more to offer than just her family's rank. Shallan is suddenly overwhelmed by everything, and Yasna tells her that power isn't all about what you have, but that power is basically an illusion. She also tells her to take the rest of the day to do her art, but to let her know if she sees the pattern around again. Suddenly Shallan hears Captain Tozbek cursing, and then sees some sailors coming over with a rope. They tie a small loop.
I jump off the page, so. You know.
They tie a small loop for Shallan's foot and instruct her to hold onto the rope as they lower her down. They also tie a second rope around her waist in case they have to pull her back up afterwards. Yelp hands her the turtle mask, and Shallan takes it as she begins getting lowered into the water. The water is freezing, but she doesn't tell them to stop as she holds her skirt down as it begins to balloon at the surface. Eventually, Shallan is waist deep, and she dunks her head into the water. The Santhid has a large eye that she assumes is a twin on the other side of the creature, and long tendrils like a jellyfish trail far down below it. Arrow-shaped spren dart around the fins of the Santhid as it swims next to the ship. She takes a memory of the creature staring at her for her drawing later. What do you think about the Santhid? So technically we get this picture at the start of the 3rd chapter, I believe, but there's a picture here which shows what the Santhid looks like.
Which is cool as fuck.
So it's like
Wait,
this
were
weird...
those like tendrils or whatever?
Yeah, so the
Were they,
tendrils
like...
are like way long. Those are like these like long ass tendrils.
Those are so cool.
So yeah, so it's like this weird turtle jellyfish hybrid.
Everything seems to have a shell, though. To be honest.
Well, yeah.
Crab people. Then we got this. Isn't this the book where they were riding on crabs?
Yeah, they ride on
have,
crab.
like, crab horses?
They have chulls, yeah, which are like more like oxen than horses because they're not very fast.
Yeah, but they're crabs.
Yeah, they're like giant crustaceans that they can ride around on.
Giant crabs.
And that pull
I wonder if you
carriages.
can eat just everything, Loki.
I mean, you can eat horses and stuff in real life too.
Okay, but like
People do that.
What are you talking
Like
about?
crabs.
This is real life. I said, what are you talking about? They are living in real life.
I meant more what Darkness said, but yeah. What about
Yeah,
the
they
crab?
can eat horses.
would they? No, man, let me not say that.
Okay.
I mean, hey, they're cutting up saddles. They can definitely eat horses.
Oh my gosh. So yeah, we move on to chapter 2, which is called Bridge 4. Our epigraph is, our first clue was the Parshendi. Even weeks before they abandoned their pursuit of the gem hearts, their pattern of fighting changed. They lingered on the plateaus after battles, as if waiting for something. From the personal journal of Navani Kulin, Jessices 1174. What do you think the Parshendi stopping going after the gem hearts?
Because they know what's coming. The final desolation. They couldn't stop it. That's probably what they were going for.
They're
And
probably
were like,
trying
"No."
to stop it, though. I just don't feel like they're bad people.
No, for sure. But like, I feel like they needed the gem hearts for that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
You
probably.
think they were like using the gem hearts to prepare for it?
Yeah, and it's like, can you imagine like trying your hardest to save the fucking planet, and then there's people trying to fuck you up just because of it?
I mean, they said that the reason they killed Gavilar was because he was going to do something. They had their reasons, even though they wouldn't fully explain it.
He's evil.
So we switch to Kaladin's point of view as he sits in Bridge 4's new barracks.
You said Gavilar, not Dalinar?
Yeah, Gavilar was the one who they said was doing something.
No. Dalinar's the one that's evil.
But yeah, so we switch to Kaladin's point of view as he sits in Bridge 4's new barracks, focusing on his breathing while the high storm slowly ends. He stands, touching the cloak Dalinar had given him briefly, before walking out into the light as a free man. Bridge 4 cheers as they see him, as they have been washing in the rain. Kaladin calls for Scar, Teft, and Moash to join him and says that he wants to look at what they've got. He notes that they have 20 barracks, and the fact that Dalinar had that many to give him and the bridgemen showed how terrible Sadeas' betrayal had been. Nearby were red-eyed scribes using parchment to collect the personal possessions of the deceased soldiers. The four of them glance at the bridgemen at the nearby barracks, who look scraggly and dejected. Moash thinks that changing hundreds of bridgemen was a lot different than changing just a couple dozen like Kaladin did with Bridge 4. As they wander through the barracks, Kaladin counts about 1,000 bridgemen that were still here after being told they were free the day before. He suggests making 20 teams of 50 and train the most eager ones, and then having them go and train their teams. Kaladin tells Teft to pick out 40 men, 2 for each of the 20 teams, and train them. Kaladin says that he can give Teft a few men to help him with the training as well. So what do you think about Kaladin's plan for training the bridgemen?
I mean, efficient.
Yeah.
So Kaladin then says that the rest of them will be needed to help keep Dalinar alive. Moash asks if Kaladin trusts Dalinar, and he says he doesn't, but he's the only one who has shown any compassion for the bridgemen, and if he dies, then it'll just go straight back to Sadeas. Scar then asks about the assassin in white, as there had been rumors about what he'd been doing around Roshar. Kaladin replies that he had already killed the previous king, so we'll just have to hope that the assassin in white is done with the Alethi. Oh yeah, he's totally done with the Alethi. He definitely hasn't been told to go kill Dalinar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're totally not going to see him anytime soon.
Kaladin can tell the others are a bit unhappy with having to help Dalinar at all costs, even Moash, who used to praise Dalinar. But Kaladin thinks that Syl likes Dalinar, and that had weight to it. Kaladin tells the men that if the worst comes and they need to abandon the war camps, it will be better for them to be a well-trained mercenary band of 1,000 instead of a couple dozen. Moash seems excited about this and asks if he can train with the sword, but Kaladin reminds him that they are still Dark Eyes. Scar says that Kaladin
still let him train with a sword.
Scar says that Kaladin isn't, but Kaladin tells him to stop partway through his sentence. Kaladin then says that he is going to name the 3 of them plus Sigil and Rock as lieutenants, as he needs some sort of command structure within the 1,000 bridgemen. So what do you think about Scar's little thing saying like, oh, but you're not at Dark Eyes anymore?
He's not. His eyes changed. It's not.
Right, I was there.
Yeah. We were all there, man.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it happen.
Also, do you think that Kaladin actually thinks that they'll escape the war camps at some point, or do you think this is just a way to appease Moash and the bridgemen while they're still not trusting of Dalinar?
I think it's a way to appease him, for sure.
Wait, what's the question?
Because Kaladin's like, oh, well, if Dalinar isn't as trustworthy as, like, he seems to be, or, like, things go down, we'll, like, just escape as, like, all of the bridgemen, because, like, a mercenary group is stronger, but, like, do you think he actually thinks that they're ever going to leave the war camps, or do you think he's just kind of saying that because the bridgemen are kind of, like, iffy about Dalinar?
Probably the second option, considering I doubt he's gonna leave Loki.
Yeah, he seems to trust Dalinar, and he really feels strongly about the fact that Syl trusts Dalinar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious on why he thinks why he trusts Dalinar so much. Like,
Well, I think it was
understand
the Shardblade thing, because he was like, the fact that he gave up a Shardblade for us, like, is way farther than he even needed to try.
After what he went through, though, like, how do you just immediately go, oh, okay, yeah, he gave up a Shardblade, one of the most powerful things that, you know.
I mean, he says that he doesn't fully trust Dalinar still, but he has like a feeling that Dalinar can be, and like as he said, like Syl seems to like really trust him, and like probably knowing now that she's like an honor spren, like probably trusting her instincts about certain people is like probably something he puts a lot of trust in.
Not only that, but if you think about it, Kaladin was like in that same situation, not like in the same situation, but like he was there when the like betrayal happened, and that sword was one of the weapons keeping him like, you know, Dalinar alive or whatever, and he just gave it up like that.
Yeah, I think as you said, like he probably like relates a lot to Dalinar because like they both got betrayed by someone that they thought they could trust. Like Kaladin got betrayed by Amram, and then Dalinar got betrayed by Sadeas, and he even says in the last book, like, I feel like this betrayal by Sadeas is even bigger than Amram's betrayal of me, like, had a lot more weight to it, so.
Yeah, I mean, this is trying to get him killed, so yeah, of course it's got more weight to it.
But yeah, so Kaladin then lists Rock as in charge of food, and Lopen as his second. Teft is in charge of training, Siggs will be their clerk since he can read glyphs, and then Moash, Scar, and him are going to be the main 3 in charge of protecting Dalinar and his sons.
I was like, he made a lot of thought on this, by the way.
Are you being sarcastic, or actually mean that?
No, I actually think he really thought this through. Like, I mean, hey, you can read glyphs, so you have to be our scribe, pretty much.
And it was like in a day, right? It was like in a day, right?
Yeah, he's thought this over basically like overnight.
Yeah. Gave a lot of thought to it. I feel like he hadn't slept that much then.
Because, yeah, like, he's like, okay, well, Rock obviously doesn't fight, and he's really good with food, so he's going to be in charge of feeding everyone. Yeah. Lopen can't do much because he's only one arm, so he's going to help with feeding people, too. Then Teft is, was, in the army previously, so he's like, okay, you're in charge of training, because you understand army stuff.
I don't know, the other 2, though, the ones that, he says never put their spears down, I was like, oh, man, yeah, this man definitely thought about this way too much.
Yeah, Moash and Scar.
one of them was like not making a big deal about the sword being given away, you know,
Yeah.
I think that was
and that triggered me
Moash.
so like bad. That made me so upset.
Yeah,
that's a
Moash
big
went from
thing.
like idolizing Dalinar to being like, no, fuck all Light Eyes, like Kaladin said. Fuck Dalinar, fuck everyone.
Yeah.
Weird.
But yes, we then skip to Hobber getting a tattoo over his slave mark. Hobber asks what it says once it's done, and Sigil says that it means freedom. Kaladin adds that the smaller glyphs above state the date he was freed and who freed him, so that no one can confuse him as a slave in the future. Hobber then insists on getting the glyphs for Bridge 4 added, as Bridge 4 was what truly freed him. As soon as Hobber was done, Scar sat down next and insisted on the full set of tattoos, including the Bridge 4 glyphs as well. Kaladin notes that Moash looks troubled, as both he and Teft do not have slave brands, as they were made bridgemen as punishment while in the army. Kaladin states to everyone that if they do not have slave
I
brands,
love
they
this.
don't need to get
This-
the tattoo to still be part of the group.
And
Isn't
they
you love
still
that?
do it anyways. I love the part that they're just like, oh, we're gonna still do it anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone except for
Especially on their
Moash gets it on their forehead. Yeah.
Yeah, like that part was the one that I was like, wow, like that's some commitment. Like I can understand the arm one. Like if they had all the ones that didn't have the slave brand put it on their arms, I could understand that.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense. But to put it on your forehead, literally emblazoning yourself basically in this group from now on, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Tefton, I think there was a couple other names that haven't been like as important, like they haven't been like really like much talked about characters, but Teft was one of the ones that got it right across his forehead. And then Moash gets it on his upper arm so he can cover it. And Kaladin's kind of like more proud of him for that because he's like, I don't want he's like, I feel bad for all the people who are like getting this mark on their forehead when like they don't need to. It makes them like stand out.
He's got a bunch of fanboys.
He does. Yeah, so Rock, who also does not have slave brands, insists on getting the tattoos anyway, as do the rest of the men, although Moash gets his on his upper arm instead of his forehead. However, when Shen sits down, the tattoo artist refuses to tattoo him as he is property. Kaladin starts to protest, but the other bridgemen beat him to it, insisting that Shen has been freed like all the rest of them, and they won't pay unless he also gets the tattoos. The woman eventually agrees and tattoos Shen as well, even though she mutters that they would barely show up on his dark black and red skin. Once Shen's tattoos are done, he gives a nod to Kaladin and stands up, leaving Kaladin as the last one to get his tattoos. So what did you think about the bridgemen insisting that Shen also be able to get the tattoos?
It was pretty cool, and I was like, hopefully he doesn't betray them in the future. And also, racist, as fuck, but
What do you think, Mythic? What do you think about Shen getting the tattoos?
I mean, I'm glad that Shen actually was given the respect he deserves.
Mm-hmm. And as I said, all of Bridge 4 was insistent on it too, not
Yeah.
just Kaladin.
which is
'cause
surprising.
yeah, because like in the past,
Kaladin-
they had been like
Kaladin didn't get
hesitant.
to say anything.
Kaladin was about
literally had
to.
to say anything ever. He never had to say anything. They were
didn't.
already ready for that.
Yeah.
It was the craziest part. Just the fact that he's with us, man. He is a part of our group. He is with us.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Because I think
That's some crazy shit.
very likely
After
outside
you
of
put-
outside of the
Oh, okay.
Parshendi, I think Shen is probably the only Parshman who is not considered property now.
But I mean, just in general though, like the fact that they went from putting on the skin of his dead fucking friends to, oh yeah, by the way, you're a part of us. Like,
And Shen seems to accept it. He kind of gives Kaladin a nod and stuff. Like Kaladin says, like he doesn't talk, but like he'll like shrug and like nod and stuff. But like he seems happy to like he'll look at Kaladin again now because we should like wouldn't even look at Kaladin.
Yeah.
So it seems like he's kind of forgiven them a little bit for what happened.
I don't know. I feel like wearing the skin of your,
Dead relatives.
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot that he's potentially thinking about. We don't really know much about.
He's gonna have
Yeah,
that
his
moment
thoughts.
at some point in the story where he's gonna have the option of either betraying them or not, and he's gonna be like, "No,
No, they're my family.
no, we got matching tattoos, y'all."
So, however, as the tattoo artist begins to work on Kaladin, she curses as the ink refuses to stay in his skin. Kaladin gets rid of the stormlight he has, but after the tattoos are done and he sucks in a bit more by reflex, the tattoos melt off his skin again. Kaladin tells the woman it's fine and pays her before getting up and taking his spear that is leaning against the tent. As they walk through the marketplace, Kaladin notices that they don't get sneered or shouted at as they pass. A few soldiers that hadn't gone out on the assault on the tower even make the Bridge Force salute at them as they pass. So what did you think about the fact that the Stormlight is preventing Kaladin from getting the tattoos to cover his slave brand?
I hated it at first, but then, like, maybe it's a pathway to like future character development.
What do you think, Mythic?
What's the question?
What did you think about the fact that Kaladin's like Stormlight is preventing him from like getting the tattoos? Like it won't let the tattoo stick to his skin.
I mean, I was wondering why his stormlight would do that, but it can't seem to save him from the brand the song is read.
That was my next question: is why do you think the Stormlight doesn't heal his slave brands?
A little weird. I do like his little like comment though.
The brands aren't done with him yet.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
Well,
One way to say it, I guess.
do you think it's because it was
He didn't have it
before he? Yeah.
Mm.
But I still feel like this is magic. It can do wonderful things. So
Yeah, but you know, it can't do everything.
you know, apparently not.
And
From
also,
skin though.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I forgot what you were gonna say too.
Damn it! I told you to remember.
I know.
So Moash asks how long it'll be until the men begin to get bitter towards them, but Rock tells him to stop complaining or he'll kick him. Kaladin then leads the men into a soulcast building.
Don't fight.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, but kicking is not fighting.
Since when?
Kaladin leads the men to a soulcast building where a light-eyed man named Rind was waiting for them. He has Cobalt Guard uniforms for them to try, although he mentions that he's going to be ordering more as he hadn't expected to need so many so suddenly. He also mentions that Dalinar had said that the men were going to get proper armor and spears for the battlefield if needed. Kaladin says they only need uniforms for now. Rind sends Moash into a changing room with a uniform first, before beginning to distribute uniforms to each of the men, including Shen, without a word of complaint. Once Moash comes out, Rind compliments him, and Moash admits he doesn't look silly like he thought he would. The rest of the bridgemen begin eagerly changing, some not even bothering with change rooms since they're used to barely wearing anything as slaves. Teft mumbles that he isn't sure he deserves to wear a uniform again, but Kaladin says he does. Teft then asks when Kaladin is going to admit what he is to people outside of Bridge 4, but Kaladin insists that he is scared that the Light Eyes will take his powers and his men from him somehow, that he wants to keep it quiet for the time being. So what did you think about Kaladin's fears about telling others about his powers?
Warranted.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess we don't know what they're capable of.
I mean, Teft doesn't seem to think that it can be taken from him, but I think it's more like Kaladin's just like scared after all like the stuff he's been through. Like, I think he kind of admits it's a bit of an irrational fear, but he's like, I can't right now.
Yeah.
Also, I love that Shen gets his uniform too, and the guy kind of gives an odd look at first, but he doesn't complain. He just hands him the uniform. He's like, here you go. But also, do you think Kaladin will eventually tell Dalinar about his powers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna find out somehow. Yeah.
I think he's more gonna like find out instead of just like actually be told it.
So it wasn't just a concussion.
He's gonna be like, wait a second.
Weird. That's weird. Why did your eyes change?
So Lopin then asks about the patch on the arm of the jacket, and Kaladin mentions that it's the insignia for the Cobalt Guard. However, Lopin replies that they're dead, which is, I feel like it's kind of a little rude, just be like, well, they're dead. And that they are Bridge 4 before cutting off the patch, much to Rin's horror. The rest of the bridgemen agree and also cut off the patches. Kaladin sighs and tells Rin he'll drop the glyph pair for Bridge 4 for him to use in the new patches. Rin then gestures for Kaladin to go to his captain's uniform, seeming excited about Kaladin being the first ever Dark-Eyed captain. Kaladin walks up to his uniform, which is slightly different than the others, and cuts off the patch like the others had. So what do you think about Lopin and the others insisting on the Bridge 4 glyphs for their patches instead of the Cobalt Guard insignia?
It definitely shows that they are committed to this.
Yeah, it's showing more who they're loyal to, you know?
Yeah. They're definitely not loyal to Dalinar, which he's
It's a little
situation.
It's the same situation that Dalinar did with the king dude.
He's like, these guards are mine. They don't like follow you even though like I tell them to guard you. It is very similar to what Dalinar did to Elhokar.
They follow me, not you.
And then we get chapter 3, Pattern, which is when we get the picture of the Santhid that Shallan drew in her previous chapter. And we get the epigraph, soldiers reported being watched from afar by an unnerving number of Parshendi scouts. They noticed a new pattern of them penetrating close to the camps in the night, and then quickly retreating. I can only surmise that our enemies were even then preparing their stratagem to end this war. From the personal journal of Navani Colon, Genesis 1174. What do you think about the Parshendi preparing to end the war?
They're gonna kiss and make up.
You think it's gonna be a peaceful end to the war then?
That, or they're gonna go sacrifice themselves trying to fight that shit.
Would you say?
No, yeah. It feels more like a peaceful ending.
I don't know. I definitely think it's gonna be bloodshed for sure.
You think they're more preparing to like end the war like once and for all in a way to like win instead of like peaceful truce?
100%.
Why would they do that? They're people of peace, you know. They sing songs.
War songs.
No, songs of peace and love.
Okay.
We go back to Shallan's point of view as she reads a text about how researching history is difficult due to the strict control of information that the Vorin Church had during the Hierocracy, and how they altered ancient texts to fit with their dogma. The text was written by Yasna during her early scholarly days, and Shalon was reading it by stormlight in her cramped cabin. Suddenly, Shalon notices the pattern on the wall next to her bed. She had seen it repeatedly while on the ship out of the corner of her eye, but whenever she looked right at it, the pattern would disappear. Shalon glances at the wall near the pattern, but not directly at it, so it wouldn't vanish. It looked just like the heads of the symbol-headed creatures that she had seen following her from her drawings back in Kharbranth. Shalon then quickly glances right at the pattern and takes a memory of it before it fully vanishes. So what do you think about the pattern following Shalon around?
Later, we find out it being a spread, and then yeah.
It's literally. Wait. I mean, they could be just like. Fuck this. Is so... do we have a picture of this of the thing?
I don't think there's a reason to keep it. You get one later in the book, but I can. Let me see if I can get the picture here. I just know there's text on it, so I just want to make sure that there's not a.
Because I was thinking, what if it's less like the spren and more like a phrase, like the words they have to speak? Is it the same like symbol heads that we've seen before?
Yeah, it looks the same as the symbol heads that you've seen before.
Okay,
it's just the head.
Because we're all different though. Is it like one single one, or is it like all three, or like whatever?
Because yeah, the picture you get later in the book has like a little bit of here's a picture of just the image of what she's seeing instead of the whole image that we'll get later, which has text on it.
Oh, that's the deepness.
Yeah, so that's what the pattern she's seeing looks like. Although it's like kind of moving, it's not just like a static image.
That's pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty, and it's like a very complex kind of like.
Imagine trying to tattoo that on you. Oh no.
I'm actually curious because I know at some point I believe like the picture for like the start of Shalon's chapters turn into, I think the picture. No, they're not currently. I think they eventually will like have that as like her picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like I think you can kind of compare how this like Spren is like following Shalon around, but like not properly like interacting with her at the moment, to how like in the past apparently like Syl was following Kaladin around when he was a soldier, but like she was just like pretending to be a Windspren or like thought she was a Windspren at the time, and he never really noticed her because Windspren are kind of common.
Yeah,
so I think
they're a lie spren, but they're not a liar spren. They're a truth spren,
So like I think it's very similar. How like apparently it seems like when you first start doing things, like the spring kind of just follows you around but won't interact with you at first, and then like slowly start actually interacting with
powers, you. Yeah, before you realize you have powers.
So Shalon quickly grabs her sketchbook and begins frantically drawing, switching from pencil to ink as she needs crisper lines. Dozens of creation spren spring up around her, but she ignores them as she focuses on her drawing. By the time she was done, there were hundreds of creation spren in the room with her. They slowly fade as Shalon waits for the ink on the page to dry, but as it does, the pattern rises out of the page with a sigh. Shalon hurries over to her bed away from it as it begins crawling across the room towards her. Shalon quickly opens her door, wanting to get Yasna, but is surprised to see Yasna already at her door with a small inky figure in the palm of her hand that melts away once it sees Shalon. So I think this is basically what happens when like the pattern now like becomes like more interacting with her. She like had to draw it in order for it to like fully be like, okay, now I can like just chill.
Yeah, because
So she's bringing the drawing to life.
She basically like somehow by drawing it, she like pulled the spren more into the physical world.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Magically.
But yeah, what did you think about the amount of creation spren that Shalon caused to appear with her drawing? It's apparently like hundreds.
It makes sense with what she's doing,
Yeah, I mean, like, powers. She's got powers.
Also,
she's got powers.
Also, what do you think about the small inky figure that was in Yasna's hand?
Her spren?
So this is obviously like the inky figure that she saw back in the prologue that was like kind of coming at her when her shadow was facing the wrong way and everything.
Uh-huh.
And so it seems like it can kind of be like bigger and smaller, just like Syl can. Because Syl generally is like that size too, like kind of like.
Wonder if it can change as well.
It's possible. Because yeah, Syl can kind of turn into a bunch of different stuff.
Just waiting for her to turn into a sword so Kaladin can go murder people.
What sort of spren do you think this inky creature is?
An ink spren. No. Mythic, didn't you say like?
Yeah, I can't remember what I said. I'm trying to think of it right now.
Yeah, it's not wisdom spren, is it?
Maybe, we don't know.
Might have been. I don't remember. I can't remember what I thought of before.
You had said something, and then I was like, "Yeah, that's probably it," and then
yeah, I can't remember either. It's been too long.
I can't remember honestly either what you said.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to.
That's because you don't care.
No, I do.
She knew I was right, and
she's like, they got it, so I'm just gonna act like I don't remember.
Exactly.
Oh, I thought it was a different spren. Actually, I'll just let you know. Dark just got it right. Ivory is an ink spren.
Oh,
what?
Oh, okay.
I forgot it was that easy. I thought he was a different type of spren, but I think I was thinking of a different one.
Okay, but
He's just an ink spread.
My God, the
Darkness got it right.
naming of these friends is just so stupid.
No, but it makes sense because she's always on those fucking books, bro.
Yeah, but it's just so stupid. Why? Like,
Just ink
can you
spread.
could he not come up with better like names for Spren? Like, come
I
on.
would love an ink spren.
You
Oh
don't get an
my
ink spread though.
goodness.
You're not the same order as Yasna.
What do I get?
That would be
Yeah.
a spoiler.
What? What?
You're
Why?
supposed to tell me.
That would be a
Yeah,
spoiler.
come on. Come on.
That's a spoiler. You'll find out in a future book.
You spoiled stuff for us
A
before.
future book? Oh my God, we don't even get to know what he is now in this book?
No, because we don't know anyone who's the same type of order as him.
Uh,
You know yours,
That's a
Mythic. You'd
lot.
get an honor sprint.
yeah, I know I have an honor friend, even though I don't believe in the fact that most of what it
Okay,
says.
but what's a darkness spren?
Darkness sprint. You were a will shaper, so you get whatever the sprint the will shapers get.
That's
Whatever that
annoying.
is, yeah, whatever that is, man, that's what you get. Nobody's gonna tell you, cause
You get light
I'm having-
spren,
light,
Light
yay.
Spren?
which is hilarious because it's the opposite of darkness.
Are you kidding me?
Light
You get a
spren.
light friend, yay.
That's
Congrats,
not.
darkness.
That's not that bad.
But yeah, so we then skip to Shallan and Yasna sitting in Shallan's cabin after Shallan had put on a robe and a glove to cover herself properly. The pattern was on the floor between the cot where Shallan sat and the stool that Yasna was sitting on. Shallan prods at the pattern with a pencil, causing it to shy away, as Yasna states that she had hoped they would be from the same order, but she had suspected that they are not. Yasna explains that each order has access to 2 surges, and those surges overlap with other orders. The
We
people
know
who
what order she is?
she has not said what order she is, no.
Okay.
I think she technically hasn't also said what order Shallan is, but I think I told you guys that she's a light weaver.
Yeah, but I just couldn't remember if you told us what
No. You'll I think she'll tell probably at some point soon.
this book is.
Yeah, I think she might say in like the next few chapters or something what she is. But yeah, she's not the same as Shallan though.
Of course
Yeah,
not.
so but she says that
one lies, one tells too much truths.
Yasna explains that each order has access to 2 surges, and those surges overlap with other orders. The people who can use these surges are called surge binders. The surge that Yasna and Shallan's orders share is soul casting. So what do you think about the fact that each order has 2 surges that they share with 2 other orders?
You know, it's cool because I'm assuming that bald dude over there, I
Zeph?
forgot his name. Yeah, him. Shares the qualities with Kaladin.
Yeah, so through this explanation, you know that like Zeth and Kaladin may not be the same order, even though they both have one of the same surges. They might be like an adjacent order. So basically, like you can make like a circle of all the orders, and like the orders that are next to your order, you share one surge with. You'll share like one with one order and one with the other. So they might just share one surge. They might not be like the same because they both can like stick things to other stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I don't think that's why I didn't think that what's his name was with Kaladin for the same order.
Yeah. So like it's very possible that Zeth and Kaladin are not the same order.
That's the word that I was looking for. Yep.
Yeah.
I wonder what part of their powers they don't share, like what in specific, because they have like their own things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Besides the stuff they share.
So Yasna also explains that they are not Knights Radiance, as that was a construct of society, but that surge binding was what allowed a person to become part of the Knights Radiant. Shallan is shocked that women were allowed in the Knights Radiant, but Yasna replies that Spren don't have the same prejudices that humans do. Plus, not all Knights Radiants were soldiers like the stories seem to assume. Shallan finds herself feeling unexpectedly disappointed. She suddenly remembers a silvery sword, a pattern of light, and 10 heartbeats. Shallan pushes those memories away. So do you think we're going to learn more about this Shardblade that Shallan keeps remembering in this book, considering I've told you now that we're going to get the Shallan flashbacks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume so.
She's gonna whip it out at some point.
Also, what do you think about the fact that Shallan was kind of disappointed that not all Knights Radiants are warriors? Sounds like she kind of wants to fight with a sword.
Yeah, it sounds like she wants to be a warrior.
What do you think about that, Darkness?
I mean, it's pretty fair considering that she was complaining about not being out, you know?
Mm-hmm.
She was the one that was complaining, right? Where she was like, "Oh, I like spent all my time inside."
Yeah, she is that is correct.
Let her fight her battles, bro.
So Yasna says that she had been looking into the symbol creatures that Shallan had been seeing, causing Shallan to glance at the pattern again, which was moving on and off of her trunk like a kid jumping on a sofa. Yasna explains that Spren take different forms in Shadesmar versus the physical realm, which is why you only see the pattern of their head here and not the full forms, such as what Shallan was looking briefly into Shadesmar, where she could see like the whole kind of body of them. Both Shallan and Yasna mention being disappointed with the intellect of the one currently with them, though. Yasna states that the creatures are called cryptics, and that they generally have a fearsome reputation. Yasna states that the cryptic might need more time, as Ivory had when they first met, but then she stops herself from continuing, as Ivory does not like it when she speaks about him to others. She also mentions that the other Spren seem to view Ivory bonding with Yasna as a betrayal. Yasna then goes back to talking about the cryptics, but she states that humans would consider live Spren, although they don't like being called that. Apparently the cryptics rule one of the greater cities in Shadesmar and are sort of like the Light Eyes of the Spren. Yasna also states that cryptics and honor Spren have a conflict between them, although Yasna hasn't had time to properly delve into Spren politics. So what do you think about the fact that the cryptics and the honor Spren don't seem to like each other?
Well, that'd be great when Kaladin meets her, I guess.
Okay. Also, like, I can't get the idea of like light Spren and darkness having the same fucking situation. It's got to be darkness, right? It's like void Spren.
Yeah, there's light. Yeah, if there's light Spren, there must be void Spren, right?
Right.
I don't know if
Definitely
there's
tell us.
darkness Spren, honestly.
But it wouldn't it
There's-
just be
there's
like
literally gravity Spren.
There should be if there's light Spren. There should be darkness Spren as well.
Yeah, they're
darkness?
yeah,
You probably just couldn't see them because it's so fucking dark out that you wouldn't see the Spren.
Unless you have night vision somehow.
That's pretty valid, actually. Yeah.
So Yasna then also says that this cryptic will be Shallan's companion that will give her the ability to soulcast, along with other things that they will learn along the way. Yasna then asks Shallan what she has learned from her research, and Shallan replies that there are 10 surges, with a few examples being gravitation, pressure, and transformation. Shallan then says that Spren are forces that were given sentience by human cognition. So I want to make a little note here that the surge of pressure, that Shallan calls it, is actually called the surge of adhesion. When we finish this book, in the back of the book, it explains all 10 surges. But yeah, the surge of pressure is actually the surge of adhesion, and adhesion is one of the surges that Kaladin has, which is the only one that he's kind of been shown using, which is the sticking things together and like drawing.
So what you're saying is, Shallan is close to both Yasna and Kaladin.
No, she's not saying that that's one of the ones she has.
Oh, okay.
She was just giving examples from what her research said.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah, no, we don't know what Shallan's second surge is. We only know that she has soul casting, which is the surge of transformation. She just gives 3 examples, which she gives one, technically, she gives 3 surges that we've seen before, which is gravitation, which we've seen Zeth use, which is how he like walks on walls and on the ceiling and stuff and like flings people around. And then we've seen pressure, which is technically called the surge of adhesion, which both Kaladin and Zeth we've seen using. And then the surge of transformation, which is what we've seen both Yasna and Shallan using, which is soul casting. And then so we know that Kaladin has at least one more surge that we haven't seen. We know both of Zeth's. And then we've seen, we don't know what either Shallan or Yasna have as their other surges, just their shared one. So that's why they gave those 3 examples at the moment.
Okay.
But yeah, so what do you think about these 3 surges that we know about?
Wait, we know 3 surges?
I literally just explained them. Gravitation,
I know,
adhesion,
but, like,
and transformation.
Wait, what was the first one?
Wait, we know 3 surges?
Gravitation, which is one of the ones Zeth
Uh-huh.
uses, which allows him to like walk on the walls and ceiling.
Yeah.
Adhesion, which both Zeth and Kaladin use, which allows them to stick things together and like draw
Okay,
things
so-
into their like.
The fuck is the difference between gravitation and adhesion if you could just stick yourself?
So gravitation isn't him sticking himself to things; it's literally changing how gravity works for him.
And would
So you're
that
not,
be
like,
his? That would be his like special thing, right?
That's the one surge he doesn't like seem to share with Kaladin.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas adhesion he does. So adhesion's the one where like it like sticks things together. So like when Zeth like sticks people, like Zeth sometimes will like throw them, change the gravity, but also stick them to things so that they can't move afterwards. Because he can move while gravity's changed, but if you've used adhesion, they can't like move. They just get stuck there.
So does fuck? I don't even know if I can ask this, but would using Stormlight in general do the thing it does with Kaladin, where he gets his little like superhuman shit, where he like
So everyone while using Stormlight gets like a little bit of extra strength and speed, and you can also heal yourself. Everyone gets
Okay.
that by using Stormlight.
okay.
That's just like a thing of having Stormlight within you.
So it's just
that
like
can
it
do.
just gives you hacks, and then it gives you like
Yeah, and then there's the
like,
external
options.
stuff that you can do. So yeah,
Interesting.
that's how that works. Is yeah, you get a little bit of boost to yourself, but also you get these 2 special powers, and like the combination of the powers is different for every order.
That's just cheating.
So Yasmin then goes on to explain that the 2 types of Spren, Emotion Spren and Nature Spren, are related to the primeval gods Honor and Cultivation. So we get confirmation that Honor is the other god. I don't think we got that, right? You guys had guessed
Oh.
it.
No, but you know, yeah.
Yeah, you guys say guess that, especially because of like, the honor spren and like they've capitalized honor a few times. But yeah, honor is the god that's apparently dead. He was the Almighty. And then there's also
Gotcha.
cultivation, which we had confirmation of
How can
previously.
he be dead if Honor is still alive?
Emotion spren are related to honor, who was the predecessor to Vorinism's Almighty and is considered the ideal human. Cultivation was a female deity that was the embodiment of nature, and thus nature spren are related to her. So basically, they consider all kind of like emotion-related sprens, like anticipation spren, fear spren, and like things like honor spren, lie spren stuff. Those are all of honor, and then things like flame spren and wind spren and all that stuff is related to
Or
cultivation.
Mhm.
They're also apparently.
So wait,
Sorry, go ahead.
does this mean that
Well-
cultivation is chilling?
Yeah, so cultivation is apparently still alive. She's just chilling somewhere.
Okay,
You don't know where she is,
So-
but she's chilling somewhere.
so she needs to get her shit together.
Maybe she's got stuff going on. We just don't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But also she mentions that there are various void spren, which are related to the antagonist, whose name has been changed a lot over time and cultures, which we would know as odium.
Yes.
So
Void Spren.
yeah, so there's apparently various types of them. So they're like called a category. So there's nature spren, there's emotion spren, and then there's void spren, which are a separate
Which-
category, which are related to odium.
Which are my Spren.
Oh my
I am
God.
Odium now.
Oh
Oh
gosh.
God.
Fear me.
Yeah. So, what do you think about these void spren? Do you think there's like any around, or do you think because kind of like odium's not really been around yet, we haven't there's not really any around at the moment unless a desolation comes?
No, they're definitely around. I've seen them. I am them.
I see. What do you think, Mythic? Void spren.
I mean, it's just odium, man.
I mean, it makes sense that they're around, but I feel like they would be active when he's there.
Also, do you think that all of the like radiant order spren are related to honor, or do you think there's gonna be some that are related to like cultivation or odium as well? I mean, probably maybe not odium because he's like the void bringers, but
No,
do you think
there
there's gonna
probably
be...
is cultivation ones.
Yeah, probably.
So Yasna then apologizes for going on a tangent, but Shallan brings up how even with all this information, Yasna still does not believe in gods. Yasna replies that she thinks that the gods may be powerful spren like the Night Watcher, but she does not see them as creatures to be worshipped. Yasna then says that Shallan should focus on studying the cryptid, as she is the only person in centuries to be able to interact with one. Shallan glances down and sees the spren bumping into her foot over and over again. I love the derpy little pattern. Shallan's spren is literally my favorite spren in the whole fucking series.
Yikes, that's-
And Soyum is gender dumb. Oh wait, no, that
No,
was,
I have misgendered
that was
Yasna's. Shallan's
Damn.
spren is also male. I love
Huh.
Shallan's
Oh,
spren.
wonderful.
Shallan's spren is my
Makes sense
favorite
with the way
spren, and
he's
it makes me
acting.
so upset that I don't get a fucking cryptic as like truth watchers don't get cryptics. I'm like, I want one though. The cryptics are the best spread. I love them so much.
Wait, they don't?
No, because Shallan's not a truth watcher. I get a different spren.
Yeah, what do
The
you
fuck
get?
is she?
I think I get a mist spren.
Ooh, going back to Mistborn.
I was gonna say,
Pretty sure I get mist spren.
if there's metal Spren, they would get their shit rocked in Mistborn eras.
Yeah, I get mist spren. Mist spren are alright, but cryptics are cooler. Also, if you
I don't know. I
want,
think light Spren are pretty
Brandon
cool.
is putting out a plushie for each of the radiant orders. If you want to use a picture of all the different radiant order spren as plushies.
Isn't this a spoiler?
I mean, kind of, but like this is something easily found because it's just like it's a place.
Okay, but that one's cute. The one with the robe.
The cryptic.
Yeah.
That's your cryptic.
I love the cryptic. Yeah, we pre-ordered a cryptic spren and an honor spren because yeah.
That one's cool. The top right one.
The top right, I believe that is ivory. I believe that is an ink spren.
Really?
Yes. Oh no, actually no. Wait, was that
I
the
thought it
ink
was the sword
spren?
one, right?
Or is the sword? Oh, yeah, no, I think you're right. The sword one. I don't remember what they all look like the best. List of Radiant spren.
Where's your
I want to
Spren?
punch like half of these.
My spren is the bottom right. That's the mist spren.
I'm guessing the honor Spren is the middle left one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that looks like sail in blue and white is the honor
Uh-huh.
spren.
What is that one? The plant spread?
Which one?
The green one, the green one.
Middle
right
one?
there.
Middle
Yeah.
top middle one? Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not gonna tell you all of them at this point, but
What? Okay.
those are just the pictures. I thought they look cool. I like the plushies. We're getting, like I said, 2 plushies. We're getting a cryptic and an honor spren. I also quite like the one in the middle right. That one looks pretty cool with like the weird eye cracks.
Oh, I thought she was crying. I thought she was crying.
Me too.
I don't think she's
Yeah.
crying. I think that's just like part of her like skin.
She has permanent tears. I like the top right and the fucking dumb one.
The dumb
Dumb
one.
one? The dumb
The
one?
poor cryptic.
Wait, which was the light Spren?
Which one would I have gone?
The lights. I think it's
Like
either
an-
the bottom
like an
left or the
order for
middle
darkness.
right.
Alright, I gotta order it for darkness.
I really was hoping it wasn't the middle right, but you know.
I'm trying to light spren plushie. Which one is the light spren plushie?
Please tell me it's not the bottom, middle right, not
It's
the
gonna be
middle
the
right.
top. It's gonna be top left.
No, that
Oh,
one's
that-
definitely not. I know.
That
what
one's
you-
definitely evil. Just
Well, hey, I mean, the liar spreads the cryptids are fucking opposite of what they fucking do.
oh, that's true.
Oh god. Okay, that's the truth watcher.
That's a fucking stone spren if I ever seen one.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, the one with the sword is the ink spren. I got confused between a different one. The light spren is the bottom left.
Oh, thank God, that's way better than the
Bottom
bottom,
left.
than the middle right. I don't like that one. I don't like the design. It's too soft for me.
Too soft. Too soft. I haven't even got the plushie yet, but it's too soft.
Just the little atmosphere, you know.
They look very determined. The bottom left, the light spren.
It looks like wood.
Kind of does. But yeah,
Is it
so
not?
chapter 4. Taker of Secrets. The epigraph is, the next clue came on the walls. I did not ignore this sign, but neither did I grasp its full implications. From the Journal of Navani Colin, Jessices 1174. What do you think about this clue on the wall?
It's the freaking time thing.
Yeah, it's the little warning they got. Warning potential threat thing.
Mm-hmm.
Threat.
Well, like, Aelin seems to think it's a threat.
Yeah, it's like a softcore threat.
Softcore threat.
So we move to Dalnar's point of view as he enters one of his high storm visions, narrating it out loud. He's running through the warm water of the Pure Lake with other men who are holding hammers and spears. Dalnar isn't sure if they are running to or from something until he sees a large fortress in the distance that seems to be made of obsidian. Outside the fortress is another group of soldiers with a Radiant in the middle of them, with shardplate that glowed red. As he gets closer, the Radiant calls for them to get into formation, and Dalnar notes that they seem to be female. Another group of soldiers with the Radiant at their center was coming towards them. Also, just so you guys may or may not have noticed, but they've mentioned how like the different Radiant orders, when they're like in their shard plate, they have like this light that glows from them. So the light corresponds to the type of order they are. So like if you see blue, which as you would see from the Windrunner symbol that I showed you guys when Mythic got to be a Windrunner, blue means Windrunner. So if you see any, I think we've seen some in the past, if you see any like in these visions, any Radiance with like blue glowing shard plate, they're a Windrunner. I believe Darkness's color is pink, pinky purple.
That is not pink, but yeah.
It's like a pinky purple. It's like magenta.
Okay, I get the best one. I get it.
And then like the Truth Watcher ones are like green.
Green is ugly as fuck.
Okay, fine then. I think it looks just nice. Thank you.
I don't like green.
But yeah, it's poor Mythic didn't get the like magenta-y color.
I know, right?
You got blue instead. But yeah, so I just thought I'd point that out.
I mean,
So
I also don't believe that that's my thing. So it doesn't
I don't
matter.
know. I felt like it matched you.
Nah, definitely didn't. What you talking about?
Windrunners are all about like spirit of the law and like following the spirit of the law and like being
Yeah,
very passionate
that's
about
pretty
that.
accurate.
And that's definitely you,
know?
Mythic.
Totally not me. No.
It's definitely you. Based on the
Definitely
arguments you
me.
guys have had during last
No.
book.
It definitely not be me.
Mythic is 100% a Windrunner. Just with
Yeah,
that.
I agree.
Never.
Yeah, there's an order that's kind of like almost the opposite, where they're all about like word of the law. It'd be funny when you guys eventually meet them. Yeah, so one of the soldiers tells Dalnar that they are looking for a spren that doesn't act as it should, as once Janat touches a spren, it acts strange. Dalnar repeats the words quietly under his breath for Navani to record. As they search for the spren, Dalnar can hear the Radiant at the center of the group talking to someone, but he isn't sure who. Suddenly he sees a face in the water and calls out to the others, and they begin chasing it as it swims away. He then sees a 6-foot-long shadow, like a person, show up as well, causing the others to shout that it brought an escort and begin running away. So what do you think about this person or creature called Janat that can corrupt spren?
Sounds like Odium.
Maybe it's a champion of Odium. You know.
I mean, somebody did say that he's gonna have to get his champion eventually.
Yeah, well, it sounds like Honor wants Dalnar to like have Odium appoint a champion, because he says like that might be the only way to like defeat him.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he probably hasn't done that in the past.
Well, we know who Say's champion is. No, not Say's. What did he say?
Say's just Harmony, the shard.
Yeah, but at this point, would Kelsier have big? You know, I'm gonna go with Mythic's thing where Kelsier's a god.
He's a god. Not sure.
Also, did you guys catch who the Radiant's speaking to? Do you know who they're speaking to, and they're kind of like speaking to themselves?
They are.
Right? What? Huh?
So like Dalinar knows like that the Radiant's like speaking to themselves kind of, and he's like, who the fuck
Oh,
are they
the
speaking
Spren?
to? Yeah, they're speaking to their little Spren that he can't
Yeah.
see. Just like Kaladin talks to Syl, and all of Bridge 4 is like, why is Kaladin talking to himself? Oh yeah, right, he's talking to Syl. We'll just ignore that.
Talking to their friends, his imaginary friend.
So suddenly the longer shadow dove down, and the stone bottom of the Pure Light began to shake and crack. Dalinar is pulled away by another soldier, and he sees the Radiant with them form their Shardblade as a thunderclast pulls itself out of the stone ground. As the Radiant begins to run at the thunderclast, the Almighty speaks to Dalinar through the soldier next to him. He states that the Knights Radiance were created to help humanity rebuild between desolations and help fight during them. The Almighty states that he had not created the Knights Radiant, but the Spren had done it to imitate what he had done with the Heralds. He then says that Dalinar needs to refound the Knights Radiant, unite them, and try to get Odium to appoint a champion. Dalinar states that if the Almighty could be killed, then others like him could also be killed. So what do you think about the fact that Honor didn't create the Knights Radiance? He created the Heralds, and apparently the Spren saw what the Heralds could do and copied that into making the Knights Radiant. So the Heralds did not have Spren. They could use these powers without Spren because of power that Honor gave them. And the Knights Radiance need Spren to have these powers, which mimic the powers of the Heralds.
So, so instead of being direct investiture from like the god himself, they're using, which makes sense, the Spren as a connection to that power.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And so that's why there's 10 orders, because there was 10 heralds, so there was 10 different power sets, and the Spren were like, okay, there's 10 of them, we'll recreate this. And so 10 type of Spren recreated one of each type of order.
What dictated what Spren would give what?
It sounds like maybe the Spren decided who they most like aligned with.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like the Spren kind of made all the decisions about creating the Knights Radiant. And so there's one herald that matches to each order of the Knights Radiant, technically. So yeah, that's a thing. So we know that we potentially saw one of the heralds at the end of the last book, so he apparently has Radiant powers without a Spren, if he is really a herald.
If he's a herald.
I mean, he said he was the herald. Wit seemed to believe him.
And if Wit believes him, I believe him.
Also, what do you think about Dalinar being given this task to defeat Odium?
Oh, yeah, he's gonna do it easy, you know? He doesn't even need help. He's the only one that needs the task.
You made that, Smithic?
What was the question?
What
I remember it was about him thinking it was, Wit saying he was a herald.
No, I asked, what do you think about Dalinar being given the task to defeat Odium?
He was given the task a while ago.
He kind of was, but he's been like he's in the last like vision or two. He's finally been like fully confirmed what he's supposed to be. They're like unite them, but also defeat Odium.
Man, that's a heavy task, heavy burden to bear. I don't know who this guy thinks Dalinar is, but
well, he doesn't even know who Dalinar is. Remember, it sounds like
I don't know. I don't think he knows who Dalinar is exactly. So how are you gonna tell somebody to do something when you don't even know who they are?
Who do you think is like? How do you think like these visions are getting to certain people? Because we know that apparently like someone else was also having visions during a high storm, like one of the people who died at one point in like the epigraphs from the press book. It sounds like maybe Gavilar was like going on about like uniting them. Like who or what do you think like decides who's getting these visions?
Odds in their mysterious ways.
Huh. Maybe it's specifically people from his order.
Well, Honor's like all of them, kind of, right? He's not one of the heralds.
No, I meant like Dalinar.
Oh, you think maybe Dalinar is going to become a Knights Radiant? And like...
Probably. I thought he was already on the way there, but
I mean, we haven't
seen any signs of Sprens.
We haven't seen any signs of Spren or like powers besides these high storm visions.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. Maybe these visions are one of the surges that we don't know about yet. So Dalinar then comes out of his vision as Navani finishes writing down what he spoke. Apparently he had originally been speaking an ancient form of Soleil before switching back to the Dawn chant. Only he and Navani were in this room, and his sons waited in the room just outside it, with Kaladin and his men. Dalinar then tells Navani that he needs to refound the Knights Radiant, before going into a detailed description of his vision for her notes. Once they are done with the notes on the vision, Navani asks about the proclamation that Dalinar is planning to publish. He states that he is going through with it, even though the other High Princes are against it. Navani worries that this may break apart the kingdom, but Dalinar replies that he won't let it. Navani mentions that she enjoys this confident version of Dalinar, but she wishes he would bring that more into their relationship. She wants to move in with him since Dalinar is convinced the Ardents won't marry them, but Dalinar says it isn't right. So do you think Dalinar and Navani are going to get married at some point?
No.
Or maybe they'll do it like right before everything goes to hell. like a certain,
Their wedding gets like
couple...
interrupted by the Everstorm.
Like a certain couple we've witnessed has done that before.
Like Vin and Ellen, where they kind of just like suddenly got
Mhm.
married out of nowhere. Like right here, right now, marry us. So Navani then opens the door to leave the room, and Kaladin peeks in to make sure everything is all right. Downer tells him to watch Navani on her way home, and Kaladin salutes in response. Downer is then left alone in the room and begins to stretch and relax, taking a brief nap. But when he wakes up, he sees a series of white scratches on the wall that formed glyphs. 62 days, death follows. So how do you think someone got into this room? Well, he was like, apparently like there was like guards outside. He's like sleeping in there, but like he's like a soldier and
spren.
everything.
It's a spren.
Hmm.
It's a spren.
Wait, what's happening?
I was asking, how do you think someone got into the room to write down the glyphs?
It would be funny if it was a friend because of the way that one person described the writing. So it was like, this shit is nasty, you know? But, like,
I mean, we know that Syl
know.
was able to carry small things, and apparently there was like this small chunk of stone that was used to carve the glyphs.
it was a stone spren.
I mean, they don't have to be a stone spren to pick up a stone.
No, but they can carve it with themselves. Maybe Zeth is already there, you know?
Maybe.
He's like, this is when I'm gonna kill you.
I was told that it has to be flashy, so I'm giving you a timeline. So Mythic, do you think it's if you think Downer might be becoming a Knight's Radiant, do you think that's his spren, or do you think it's a different spren, like someone else's spren?
I
Might have
think
written
it's
it.
his spren. I think it's warning him.
They also see the visions and they're like, I'm sure it's coming. You need to be ready. So we skip a short time later with Navani and one of the Colon scribes named Rushu inspecting the glyphs. Rushu mentions that the person who wrote this was obviously not practiced at writing glyphs, as they were sloppy and the death glyph was almost wrong. She also complains about how imprecise glyphs are with writing, which causes the meaning to be unclear. Edelin asks if this is a threat, but Downer replies that it isn't. Navani asks Rushu to leave the room for a moment, and as the door opens, Downer sees a concerned Kaladin and Bridge 4. So yeah, what do you think it means that the person was unfamiliar with writing glyphs? You guys think it might be like a spren, and that's why the glyphs are so fucked up?
It's a man.
You think it's a guy, and that's why the glyphs are so bad?
Could be a man or it could be his friend, you know? But yeah.
Definitely doesn't seem like it's a well-practiced woman who's writing this.
No.
So Downer gestures for Kaladin to come over for a moment and says Kaladin didn't do anything wrong, although Kaladin obviously considers himself to have failed for letting someone in to write on the wall. Kaladin insists that he'll have better guard details moving forward. Downer doesn't know why he trusts Kaladin so much, but he knows to trust his instincts. Downer then dismisses Kaladin, and Adolin walks over to Downer. Navani states that she is confused as to how Downer seems to know what the writing means, even though he doesn't know who did it. Downer replies that it means that they have very little time, as he thinks about the words the Almighty have said to him before. The Everstorm comes. Apparently 62 days was all they had. So, do you agree with with Downer that the warning is about his visions in the Everstorm?
Yeah. That sounds the most right.
I mean, he could be wrong, and yeah, it might be Zeth. It's like, oh, actually, you were predicting the completely wrong thing, Downer.
Can you imagine? They're like ready for war. Zeth pops out of nowhere. Goodbye.
What they mean by death follows is that Zeth is actually like stalking Dalinar for the next 62 days.
Oh no.
So that was our last chapter. First overview question is, what do you think about this countdown that seems to be like it's going to be happening throughout this book?
It's a standard lunch countdown.
63 days till the Sander Lynch. Oh, God. Seeing as we only do this every, 7 days, I don't know.
If it's like, oh my god, I swear to god, if it's one of those things where like the countdown ends and the end of the book ends, I'm gonna be so upset.
I'll let you do.
Guys.
I'll confirm to you. We do get the resolution of what the countdown is.
Okay.
You don't have to get upsetty about it.
Upsetty spaghetti.
You'll get a resolution to the countdown.
Oh.
The final resolution?
I won't say when it'll come, but you'll get. You'll
Well,
find
in
out
60 something days.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I won't see if it's like the middle of the book or the end of the book. You will get it in this book. Also, through our Shalon and Yasna chapters, do you think we're going to learn a lot more about the Knights of Radiant and the Surges? Because they're kind of like the scholarly people.
Well, yeah, they're already like telling us so much. Yeah.
Yasna's giving away all the information now that Shalon knows about stuff.
Which is great. It's elevating her like my view on her even more.
Do you have any other theories or anything you want to go over? You said you have like a theory that Dalinar is evil.
Dalinar is evil. Or he's working for the evil person. Yeah, he's working for Odium.
You think like Odium's like manipulating him or something?
Yes, just like Ruin was manipulating. Wow, I can't think of
Kelsier and Vin.
Just Vin. Not Keltier.
Well, Ruin does say that he was kind of manipulating Kelsier into like
No,
basically trying to
just
take down
Finn.
the Lord Ruler.
Nope, just Finn.
Pretty sure he was also manipulating Kelsier.
Nah.
No, I'd
Keltier's
say
a
it's
god.
more.
Keltier's a
I'd say
god.
it's
He
more.
couldn't manipulate him.
I'd say it's more if you have the same goal as somebody else and they're like, "Oh, I manipulated you into doing that just because it works out." It's not really manipulation
Yeah,
because you wanted it anyway. But
Mm.
exactly. Lord Ruler killed his wife for sure.
right, like, is that not enough?
He wasn't manipulated. He wasn't being manipulated. He had just the same goal in mind. But
Is that not enough to like
Well,
take
Ruin's
revenge?
what led him to finding the 11th medal, which gave him hope that he could kill the Lord Ruler.
sure.
Okay, but he was looking
but
for
I mean-
something to kill him with anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like,
but he did kind of help him along and make it seem a lot more
Ruin just
possible.
helped. He didn't manipulate him. He literally manipulated Vin.
Okay, he manipulated people around Kelsier. How about?
Sure. Yeah, that worked.
Because he definitely
But
manipulated like
Kelsier's
Gemmel and
involved in
stuff.
But no, he had metal in Vin's ear
Yeah,
to
he did.
manipulate it.
It's
So,
true. He didn't
I
have
mean-
metal on Kelsier. He was manipulating people around
Exactly.
Kelsier to like get him to like kind of go the way he wanted, but he wasn't directly manipulating Kelsier.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
Vin got
get it right.
manipulated. Kelsier's a god. We don't have to worry about Kelsier.
Also, next episode we will be doing chapters 5 through 9.
59? Okay.
5 to 9.
39?
No, 5
I'll
to
do
9.
59. Got it.
So
Darkness, just read the whole book, alright?
Oh my gosh.
I will, and then I'm gonna act like I didn't read it.
Exactly. I do that with every one of these podcasts.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But yeah, thank you guys all so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.